On to 10.2. 10.2 is discussion of the Minneapolis Park Foundation's request for proposals for design of the waterworks area as it relates to the Central Riverfront master planning process. And I don't see Andrew, I see.
He's here.
Commissioners, I'll kind of introduce this topic and then quickly turn it over to Andrew. We're about to kick off the process for doing the master plan update for the Central Riverfront Regional Park. And as part of that, you know that the waterworks area, the waterworks district in the downtown area, has been looked at in the past couple of years for redevelopment. It includes the Fuji-Ya site. And as an additive piece to the Central Riverfront master planning process, we're really excited about a partnership that we're developing with the Minneapolis Parks Foundation to look at waterworks to a greater level of depth and detail. And I'm going to ask Andrew to talk a bit about schedule and a bit about what that means to the project. So, Andrew.
Thank you, Bruce. President Irwin, Commissioners, I'm going to try and bring up the screen here. Bear with me. I just have a couple of points to make. One, Bruce already made that this is the Minneapolis Parks Foundation's proposal here is to add to the Central Riverfront master planning efforts so that we can get to a deeper level of detail in a area that really needs that attention. But let me get the map up so that I can make my second point, which is to show you exactly where we're talking about. We call this the waterworks area because of its history, but we all know it today as the Fuji-Ya site. So the red line on your screens here is the regional park boundary. The shaded area to the left is the study area, if you will, for the waterworks request for proposals, where the team selected by the Minneapolis Parks Foundation will work collaboratively with the team selected by the park board. We'll issue parallel RFPs, and so there'll be collaboration there for this portion of the study area for the Central Riverfront Regional Park Master Plan. Those are really my 2 points. I want to keep it brief, and I want to give Mary deLaittre, the Executive Director of the Minneapolis Parks Foundation, a chance to share a few words, and then we can take questions.
Thank you, Andrew and Bruce and Commissioners. I'm not sure I actually have much more to add to what Andrew said, other than the three of us have been working very, very closely to build on and collaborate around the creation or the study area of the waterworks site and how this is integrated into the central planning process. We at the foundation have raised just shy of $200,000 in order to pay a team to come in and look at that area in greater depth and come up with some wonderful concepts, hopefully.
Okay. Vice President Walensky's first.
Thank you, Chair Irwin. I am really looking forward to seeing the parking lot excavated and revealing the historic channel gates on the west side of the river, and I look forward to integrating much better the uses of the pedestrians, the bikers, the cars, and the joggers that all come together at that lovely intersection there. However, the previous diagrams that the foundation kind of had put forward about this plan, man, that was a lot of cement. I mean, I've never seen so much cement outside of a building foundation before, I don't think. And so I'm really hoping that because we're the park board, this will look a little bit more park-like when you come up with your final plans. And then because this is being integrated with the Central Riverfront CAC, Citizens Advisory Committee, I hope you'll take their suggestions to heart, because we're asking a bunch of people to spend a lot of time volunteering, and I'd hate to think that we have a pre-existing set thing before we even get there.
Thank you, Vice President. Andrew.
President Irwin, Commissioner Walensky, thanks very much for that. And I want to say first, thanks to some of the commissioners have already forwarded their nominations, their appointments for the CAC, and I thank you for that. Staff will be sending out letters soliciting appointments for the CAC later this week. But to your point specifically, Commissioner Walensky, definitely the CAC process will be integrated between the two planning efforts, and the Minneapolis Parks Foundation's design team, their consultant team, will be working directly with the Riverfront CAC, as will the Park Board's selected consultant. Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Olson.
Mill Ruins Park has a fairly recent master plan, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, park hasn't been in existence that long, correct?
The master plan I'm aware of is from 91, I believe, or 92, yes.
And it was constructed in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we're still working on it. So, kind of surprised that we went from the Fujiya site to incorporate all of Mill Ruins Park. Then it looks like we're incorporating in the study a piece of land that I don't recognize as a Minneapolis park that we don't own.
May I respond?
Please.
President Irwin, Commissioner Olson, there are, I think, 3 issues of varying scale embedded in your comment or your question, and I can address at least 2 of them. One is, indeed, Mill Ruins Park. There is a master plan that's roughly 20 years old now. And
Pretty
it's
good plan, too.
It's an excellent plan, partially implemented, and the request for proposals that staff is issuing later this week for the Central Riverfront, the Regional Park Master Plan, identifies those areas around the regional park which have, I'll call them viable master plans or ideas. One of those is the East Falls notion in the Father Hennepin Bluffs. Another one that's called out specifically is the Mill Ruins Park master plan. So it's not that we're tossing everything out with this request for proposals and asking for totally new ideas. We're saying across the entire regional park, how can we integrate those ideas in a regional park plan that's then approved by this board and by the Metropolitan Council in St. Paul. That's the intent. The second point was, I think, about the circulation around the area. The third point is about, relates to questions, again, across the entire regional park about whether or not the regional park boundary should be expanded. I think what I've heard in my initial community engagement around this topic is that it's a valid question on at certain areas around the regional park, and what we're looking at on the screen is one of those areas where we feel the question should be asked: is the regional park boundary where it should be, or should we consider moving it? And I don't know if Mary has something to add to that.
Well, I just wanted to be very, very clear from our conversations that the Waterworks site specific is from 3rd Avenue Bridge to Portland and from the river over to 1st Street. But because of Mill Ruins Park and Gold Medal Park being right there, we are asking our team to look at those 2 areas in terms of critical connections. How do you take what Commissioner Walensky referred to as a very, very complex area that has multiple pieces, and while focusing on the Waterworks area, but really understanding the larger context that we're working in, which then even gets larger when you think about the full central area that's being looked at. You know, the other side of the river.
I'm not done yet, Mr. Chair. There was a lot of money spent at Mill Ruins Park and a lot of money spent at Gold Medal Park not that long ago, and when I see us, it just raises some concerns for me that we're expanding the area to areas that are already completed, one of which we don't even own, and it's not, yeah. Anyways, I'm just going to stop there because
You're done now, You're done now, Commissioner.
for the moment
Okay.
until I see something else pop up.
Before I go to Commissioner Young, I'm not sure one question was answered. Do the existing landowners of Gold Medal Park, are they agreeable to other people working on a plan on their property, and also, or is the existing leaseholder agreeable to people planning their property?
No, I want to be very, very clear. The design team is focusing on the Waterworks area. But in order to be successful there, they need to understand the larger context that they're working in, which also includes Mill Ruins, the neighborhoods coming in there, Gold Medal Park. So the design team is not being commissioned to design Gold Medal Park or design Mill Ruins Park. They
Okay,
need to understand them,
That
and
makes
they
a big
also
difference.
need to build on the existing plans that are there.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
That helps a lot.
Very much so. Very clear now. Before it was kind of
That I was
yes,
confused.
Thank you.
Yep. Commissioner Young.
So looking at this calendar, there's RFPs going out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not sure that I remember at least the dates of the CAC. And what I'm concerned about is if they're not even picking The consultant's schedule, it says till July 9th. And then the project begins. Which project begins? The consulting design process?
In this case, the project is the regional park master planning process, if you will. That's the project.
So tell me when the CAC starts and the overlay of the CAC dates?
President Irwin, Commissioner Young, the CAC would start roughly parallel with when the consultant is under contract and ready to start working. So that's why we're...
Which is when? Tell me the date. I'm sorry, I'm not...
The earliest would be, given the city's process and the park board's process for contracting, the earliest would be, I'd say, late August. And certainly by early September, we could be convening the CAC.
Okay, because that's not how I understood it when I asked and chose my person. I thought it was starting a lot sooner, and so I'm not sure about availability of some of these people that were asked on the CAC. That wasn't clear to me in our request, that it was 4 months from now, 5 months from now.
I appreciate your comment. The intent of the community engagement plan and then the CAC charge was to convey that this will be an extended process. This because of the scale, the scope of this regional park, we anticipate that this CAC process will go on for many months, the better part of a year. And if the CAC meets, say, monthly or every 6 weeks, it's a commitment, and getting there is quite an effort too. Just getting to the point of beginning.
Did I misreading that? Was that clear in our charge of asking for our appointments?
It didn't specify.
Boy, okay.
We knew it was going to be a long process.
I knew it was going to be long, but I didn't realize it. Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Cummer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have been curious for a long time now, where did that name, Waterworks, come from? Every time I hear it, I am like, what's that? Where is that? It means nothing to me.
This used to be the site of the former Minneapolis Waterworks. And so the foundations are still there underneath River Road.
Huh. Well, it's still pretty vague. But
Good thing it
at
wasn't
least
the
you had
sewer.
an answer.
Well, go to the library. I mean, look it up on the Hennepin County History. Has all those pictures. You can see the old building.
Waterworks, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vreeland.
Yeah, what's inside the dotted lines is just an amazing piece on the planet. I mean, this is just an amazing area for so many reasons, and probably all of you have seen the transition from when it was, I got to Minnesota in 1973. My parents were kind enough to take me to the Fuji-a. There has been an amazing transformation of the Central Riverfront, and it has really, really impacted the city of Minneapolis to great benefit. The finances are much more challenging, but it's not done. We have the power of the falls. We have the idea and the direction of where we should be going and the great treasures and assets that are here. It's not going to be easy, but these two projects are also linked with Power of the Falls, which we have approved as a board. We're working on the East Bank plans. We're working on the restoration of a waterfall as part of that. This is an amazing area that could be this huge economic engine for the city, and not just the Stone Arch Bridge that people walk on and know about, but the linkage of all these great historical sites. One of the challenges will be that, from what we've been told from the architects, Fuji-a cannot be saved in its current condition and needs to be, we need to engage in the archaeological restoration more than the building restoration because of the complexity. So that's going to be an issue. It's been discussed at the Heritage Board. I mean, we need to be reverent of that building, but again, one of the things we're going to have to face probably early on is that it's probably not a building that can be saved. And this whole area is really going to change, and we need to be on top of it, whether we plan it or not. If we plan it, we'll have to be creative about the finances, which is, again, one of the great connections with the foundation is we may be able to do something that we've never been able to do, and that is really have a public-private collaboration that is of great benefit to the public, right in the place where it makes the biggest impact in the city. So thank you for doing this, and go forward and plan.
Thank you, Commissioner Freeland. Commissioner Tabb.
Thank you, President Irwin. I would agree with Commissioner Freeland. But I do want to ask just one question about, I know we've got the CAC that will form for the Central Riverfront. So will they also be charged with the waterworks? How does the CAC and the waterworks area design work together? How does that all work together?
President Irwin, Commissioner Tabb, the waterworks process is really seen as additive. The geography literally overlaps with the study area of the Central Riverfront Regional Park planning effort, so there's a one-to-one there. We'll share meetings, we'll share CAC meetings and community outreach meetings.
Okay.
The two processes, and the consultants will work together in the same room sharing information, so there'll be a fair amount of overlap.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's what I really kind of wanted to hear. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I'm thrilled to see it happening. I think the area, I think we all recognize, has completely changed. We have 11,500 new people just in the last decade down there. And in 1990, when the board worked on Mill Ruins and really started this effort to change the riverfront, it was a success. And these warehouses that were all abandoned at that time are full. And we have a whole new constituency of people that I think would love to participate in designing this area and give money to do something unique in this area. And I think there's a strong desire to do something more active than just having only green space. So I'm excited to see what both organizations come up with. So thank you for coming.